Trudeau's new trade policies are selling out Canadian workers.
He has said that he wants to phase out our oil sands. He says that Southern Ontario should move away from manufacturing. He has attacked our mining sector. This is a deliberate, radical agenda by the costly coalition of the NDP and Justin Trudeau to shut down our resources and make us hopelessly dependent on foreign polluting dictatorships.
This is a critical issue that's affecting millions of Canadians, from manufacturing jobs being shipped overseas to unfair trade agreements that prioritize foreign nations and having a huge burden on our agricultural sector. Trudeau's decisions are leaving hard-working Canadians in the dust. So what's the bottom line? Well, we're starting to see massive job losses in the real numbers, not the government phony jobs numbers, where 90% of the new jobs are public sector government jobs. And what this is setting up for is a painful decade or decades to come. So in this video, we're going to break it all down and what it really means for you and I as Canadian citizens. All right, so we got to discuss the impact of Ceda, the Comprehensive Economic Trade Agreement. Now, this is a trade agreement between Canada and the EU, making it cheaper and easier for European manufactured goods to come to Canada. Now, this sounds like it's all good, right? The easier trade we can do with Europe, with America, with any country is always a good thing. However, just like every government regulation or law or tax rule, anything from a government always, as we always talk about here, has intended and unintended consequence. And the unintended consequence of doing this easier trade agreement with Europe to get their goods over here cheaper is that we're losing Canadian private jobs, manufacturing jobs specifically, because they can make things so much cheaper and quicker in Europe. Why? It's a larger mass of land with connected countries, way better rail system, they're closer to Asia. There's a number of reasons why things can be made cheaper and faster in Europe. And if we're buying them at cheaper prices, companies in Canada are going, why would I pay Canadian workers to make this auto part, to make this machinery part? Why would I pay a CNC guy $50 an hour in Canada, right? When I can just buy it from Germany, from Austria, from Switzerland, whatever, for like way cheaper. So I'm not going to hire that guy. I'm just going to buy it direct from them. And that's what's happening. It's an unintended consequence. What was made to seem like a good policy is affecting Canadians. And we can see in the job numbers, manufacturing jobs are way down. And we always know, in Canada specifically, we are a manufacturing and an oil nation. When manufacturing jobs start to take a hit, when construction jobs start to take a hit right after that, it is a clear sign of a recession coming. And we've been seeing this in the data, in the CPI reports, for the past 6 months. We've seen a massive slowdown in manufacturing, in construction, private sector jobs, keyword, private sector jobs. It's just on a straight downhill. And this new trade agreement it really isn't helping. The worst timing. Now, when you add on top of that, the decline of the aluminum sector, which is good. Canada's full of natural rich resources. Aluminum, steel, nickel, oil. And we're just not, I don't want to say exploiting them, but we're not using them properly. Because Trudeau's whole agenda is climate change and clean. We don't want to be a dirty nation. Dude, we're a dirty nation, all right? I've already said this 1,000 times. Canada's an oil nation. We like to make it look like, these CPI reports are complicated and we're a complicated economy. We're a big economy with construction and manufacturing. No. We are an oil nation. We're a dirty oil bastard. With the smartest people in the world, with the ability to make the cleanest oil in the world, but we're not. Trudeau wants to get away from oil. That's our bread and butter. As I always say, Canada could literally be the next Dubai. Toronto could look like Dubai. Pretty much one step away from fucking spaceships flying around the CN Tower. That's where we could be. If we, again, I don't want to use the word exploited. I got to find a better word for this. Capitalized on the fact that we have so much oil. We have the technology. We have the brains. We can attract the best people to get the oil out of the ground in the cleanest way on Earth and then sell that clean oil to other nations. Because they're going to get it anyway, as I always say. If we don't pump the oil, the Middle East is, China is, Russia is. And we know those countries don't give a fuck about climate change. They don't care what they're spitting out while they're drilling. They don't care. They're capitalizing on today. So if we don't pump our clean oil, they're going to pump their dirty oil regardless. We might as well double down, become the biggest oil pumper in the world and sell our clean oil. Might as well. And in the meantime, our country is going to get dirty wealthy. We'll have jobs. We'll have good health care. We'll have good everything. Better everything. Who doesn't want that? Trudeau doesn't want that. Why? Because he doesn't fit with the WEF agenda where we got to be clean and climate change and carbon tax and pollution. You're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. We already know that Canada is a carbon net neutral country. We're actually under. We take in more carbon than we put out. Oh, they don't want to tell you that, though. They don't want to tell you that. You can find out those studies from independent sources, and it clearly shows. Do you realize how fucking huge Canada is? It's gigantic. And like 80-90% of the land is trees. There ain't nobody there. We're a clean economy. But they make it sound like we're dirty. And we're all this polluting, dirty-ass country. Well, we're not. It's outrageous. Now, on top of that, you throw on the Canada, United States, Mexico agreement, which is putting a lot of pressure on our dairy farmers because it makes it easier for dairy farmers in the U.S. to get their milk up and around the U.S. and into Mexico, leaving Canada in the dust again. So our dairy farmers are also feeling the pressures of these terribly negotiated trade deals. What's going on, dude? Like, this guy has no brain for economics or business.
We have recently switched to drinking water bottles out of when we have water bottles out of a plastic. Away from out of a plastic.
It's the one thing you got to give Donald Trump a hand for. Say what you will about him. Wacko, says some crazy shit.
I did try and fuck her. She was married. I moved on her like a bitch. You're a star. They let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab him by the pussy. Hello, how are you?
But his negotiating on trade deals was fucking masterful. He did such a good job for America first. Like, it's crazy. And he just obliterated Trudeau. He obliterated Trudeau so bad, Trudeau doesn't even know how bad he got fucked. That's how good he was. He negotiated and Trudeau was like, oh, I don't know, this sounds like a good deal. But it was actually a terrible deal. That's how good Donald Trump was. And last but not least, technology in Canada. A lot of y'all across Canada might not know this, but I live in Kitchener-Waterloo. Waterloo is becoming the tech hub of Canada. They're calling it the mini San Francisco. Google is here. Shopify is here. Lots of other tech companies are here that are, BlackBerry was here. Waterloo is a mega. Dude, when I drive downtown Kitchener now into Waterloo, it's insane. It's looking like a mini Toronto. Google is here. And it's a nice building with a brewery right next to it. Pretty sick. Anyway, it's becoming a hipster capital. They're making it a mini San Francisco. That is huge. That could be amazing for Canada, for what's to come, especially with where we're going with AI, technology, chips. Oh, dude. But how is Trudeau fucking it up? Shit was getting going. Lots of companies want to be here. Then he went and raised the capital gains tax to 66.6%. So any business owner, Google, for example, if they want to sell their business in Canada, 66% of their income susceptible to taxes. Now, Google's way smarter than that. There's always a way around it if you're rich. There's a way around it to not pay any tax. But for the medium-sized small tech companies who want to be around the vibe and grow their little tech company, they don't have the resources or the brains to do that just yet. So what does that mean? They ain't coming here. The engineer that we could have hired from San Francisco to come to Waterloo, come to Toronto, and work in Canada and develop and build a business in Canada, live here, get to love Canada, build a business here, they're not coming here anymore. We're not attracting talent anymore because we're not a competitive country. Why would anybody start a business here and pay outrageous taxes, 50% tax rate over 250 grand a year, and then capital gains 66.6%? Why would anybody build a business here when I can just do it in Florida or Texas? Texas is really becoming the next tech hub. Fuck San Francisco. Everybody's fleeing California for Texas because they have a 0% tax rate. That's why Elon Musk is there, SpaceX is there, Amazon is there. All the big tech companies are fleeing to Texas, Austin, Texas specifically. Why would anybody come here? We're losing talent. We're not competitive. It's like the U.S. is on the All-Star team, and we're like the fucking beer league team. And we're like, come to Canada, come join our beer league hockey team. For the same price, or actually for a better price, you can join the All-Star team. I think I'm going to go to the All-Star team. That's exactly what's happening. We're losing doctors, we're losing nurses, we're losing dentists, we're losing tech companies, we're losing manufacturing companies because Canada is not competitive enough. We need to lower our taxes and make it on par with America, but we're not going to do that. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think about all this? How's it going to affect Canada? I'd love to know. Let me know.